With version 4.5.5 of the Actuarial Excel Addin, you now have the possibility of saving your personal data in a separate workbook. And in order to do so, you go to the Actual Excel Addin website in the workbooks section, and under personal data, you see that you could download the workbook. And in the workbook, you would save mortality table, projection scales, and statistics. So let's download the workbook first. And if we go to the downloaded files, we have the my underscore AEA workbook, which stands for Actual Excel Addin. So my Actual Excel Addin workbook. And that workbook has to be moved with the other Actual Excel Addin workbook in the Actual Addin data directory. So you have the Aubin QX for mortality table, Aubin stat, statistics on CIA functions, for example, inflation and the like, Aubin stocks on stocks and bond indices, and my AEA. So it's already here. I can delete it, and let's say I will move the one coming from the downloaded file. Now if I start Excel, you see that if I go to Window unhide, there are four files in the background that we don't see. It's the Aubin QX for mortality again, Aubin stat, and Aubin stocks, and also the My AEA workbook, which is new now. If I unhide it, you'll see that there's a few worksheets in it. If I start with the README worksheet, it explains how to add a mortality table, the steps involved, the same for the projection scales, then the yearly statistics, monthly statistics, and finally the daily statistics. So if we start with the mortality table will all be contained in the QX worksheet. Here I have entered one mortality table. I've named it my table, and notice that it goes from age 0 to age 120. This is mandatory. And if you don't have, let's say your table would start at age 5 and ends at 110, for example, then you would fill the first four with 0, say, meaning no mortality, and you would fill the remaining rates. If it's end at 110, you would enter 1 after 110, meaning 100% mortality. So every mortality table will be saved in the QX worksheet. In column B and C here, I have my table. I have the rates for male and the rates for female. I have to name the range of cells for the male, so from age 0 to age 120. If you notice, the range has been named my underscore table Q1, Q1 standing for male. And if I go to column C, from age 0 to 120, the range has been named my underscore table Q2 for female. So if I have another table, I would enter it here. I could say my table B, whatever, and then my rates would be in these cell to 120. And the same, I would to name the two ranges, one for the male and one for the female. Let's remove that. Next, the projection scale. Each projection scale has to be saved on a separate worksheet. So one worksheet per projection scale. Here, I'm in the my underscore scale A worksheet. And you see that in column A, I have the age from 0 to 120. First for male, and then the same for female to 120. The following columns would contain the years. So from 2020 to 2021. And I have in the green cells, I have first a named range for the male that I name my underscore scale A1, one for male. And if I go down for the female, the same from these green cells have been named my underscore scale A2. One more thing that has to be said regarding projection scale is that in the QX worksheet, you have to specify the first year and the last year of each cell. So here I've indicated my scale A that runs from the year 2020 to 2021, and my scale B runs from 2018 to 2019. And each of these cells, if, for example, here I'm in B2, the year start for my scale A, and notice that that cell has been named my underscore scale A start, and the next cell B3 has been named my underscore scale A end. And if I go to the column to under my scale B, the same for my scale B start, my scale B end. Very important. So this information is kept in the QX table. The next three worksheets contain statistics yearly, monthly, and daily statistics. Starting with the yearly statistics, notice column A would contain the year in green, and each following column would contain a statistics series. So 107, the row 1 contain the stat number. So I've used 107 for the Stanley Cup statistics, 102 for world population, 33 for Summer Olympic, and so on and so forth. If I go to my column B, for example, my Stanley Cup statistics, so I use 107 as the stat number. That will be the number referred to with the yearly stat function. And I also indicated that the information kept in that series or text is text. I have the choice between four types: integer, real number, text, or Boolean for true or false. Then I have a description, the source where I found the statistics, the start year, and the end year. Information in red are very important. They are used by the yearly stat function. Other information in black are useful, like a name for your statistic, a description, and a source, but will not be used by the yearly stat function as such. If I go down that list, you see that my statistics start with the year 2000, sorry, and ends with 2021, which is indicated here. Same principle for the monthly statistic. You can see that the format is very, very similar. The only change in the monthly statistics is the way you enter the start month and the end month. You enter the year first, 1990 for the year, and 01 for the month, so January 1990. And it's an integer, and by formatting, a dash is inserted in between the year and the month. So the same for the end month, 2021-09, so September 2021. And in the column where you enter the every month of your statistic, you use this, and you enter integer also. It's formatted with a dash between the year and the month. And finally, you have the daily statistics, very similar to the yearly or monthly. The difference is the start and end. It's really a date that you enter here. And the same for in your column A, you enter a date. And finally, the last worksheet is a validation list. For the moment, there's only the type in the validation list: integer, real number, text, or Boolean. Let's open a new workbook, for example. So for the series 107, which was for the Stanley Cup statistics, the yearly statistics, If I want the year 2015, 2017, so I would call my function yearly stat, enter the year first, and the stat number second, which is on row 7. That would return Chicago Blackhawks in 2015 and Pittsburgh Penguin in 2017. If I want to have more information on the 107 statistics, for example, I would use the year zero and the code 126, for example. So code would we haven't used the code yet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The default value for the code is zero when you return the statistics. But if I want to have other information on my 107, so I would again call yearly stat. And instead of entering a year, I would enter zero or nothing and my stat number, 107. So it would say yearly stat. No, no. Okay, sorry, 107 and the code. The code is missing. Okay, it's okay. So my stat number 107, code 1, would return the name of my statistics. And the second one, the type, the third one. And if again you want to know what the code 0 to 6 stands for, you could just call the yearly function, yearly stat function, enter no year, 0 year, stat number 0 instead of 107. So it's a general. And the code number is 1 for the first. So it indicates is that my code 1 is the name of the statistics, code 2 is the type of the statistics, code 3 the description, code 4 the statistic source, 5 and 6 the start and end. So it's for a stat number 0. And here for my stat number 107, my name is Stanley Cup. My type is text, description, NHL hockey team winning the Stanley Cup. The source, HTTP, etc., start in 2000, ends in 2021. So that's how you would call the yearly stat function. Similarly for the monthly and the daily statistics. And if we try with the mortality table that we've just created, so let's try at 45 the mortality rate. So it would be the TQX function at my age 45. And my LX would be for, let's say, for ML to, and my table would be my scale, my table, simply my table. It was named only my table. So it would, this is so for a male and for a female. So let's replace the one by my row number. So I have my rates for male and female coming from my table. And if I want the same with, let's say, with the scale, I would just, in my helix function, I would say that my projection is true. And my scale would be my scale A, and projection base year, let's say in 2000, year of evaluation 2021, my age is 45. So that's how you use your personal information, personal mortality table and projection scale with the My AEA workbook. I hope you'll find the new workbook useful. Thank you very much. Bye.